All right, it's time now for the game preview presented by Ticketmaster here with head coach Kevin Stefanski. Kevin, week one, it's here. You had 2 preseason games at home, but it might be a little bit fuller on Sunday. So how exciting is it to prepare for your first game at Huntington Bank Field?
Huntington Bank Field, there it is. You know, we're excited about that. We know what it's like playing in that stadium down there on the lake. Our fans, like I mentioned many times last season, it's the truth, they were so impactful to us winning down there. They make life really hard on the defense. Our players feed off their energy. So starting at home, we're excited about that.
All right, you're hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Tough opponent. What are you looking towards that matchup where you think that you guys excel?
Well, like you mentioned, it's a tough matchup, and for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, I think they're well coached, and I think they have really good players. And you look up and down their roster, whether it's on their defense, their offense, their special teams, they have really good players up and down. So we have to know them. That's been part of the challenge this week, is understanding their personnel, understanding their scheme, because it is a little bit different. As you know, when you go into week one, there's a lot of unknowns. So there's some unknowns when it comes to their scheme, similar for us as well, but really getting to know their personnel is really important.
All right, on that offense, right, the guy under center, Dak Prescott, what kind of challenge does he pose your defense?
I just see a player that's in complete control of what they do. He has a lot of check with me, if you will, at the line of scrimmage and run, pass, and getting them into different things. He's orchestrating the whole thing. When he throws it, he's really accurate. He's athletic. He can scramble to throw the ball. So it's a huge challenge for us this week against Dak.
One of his weapons is a guy that everyone's talking about, CeeDee Lamb. How much are your defensive backs looking at that matchup and maybe chomping at the bit to get out there?
Well, he's a premier receiver in our league, and I know there's a lot of good ones, and we'll see a lot of them, but he's right at the top of this list. The things that he can do with the ball in his hands, the routes that he can run, he really lines up all over. You're going to see him outside to the left, outside to the right, in the slot. They'll motion him, so they do a really nice job of moving him around the formation. Our guys are excited about the challenge, but we recognize that this is a really talented player.
Then up front, they've got 2 rookies starting on their offensive line. A defense that is, at its core, the same for you guys. What's the mindset there as they attack that?
Well, I think they're, like you mentioned, 2 rookies, but these are good players. These are 2 good rookies. So that offensive line, we really look at it in total, those 5 guys versus our defensive line. So there's always things that we'll look to do when it comes to matchups, no different this week or next week or the following week. But I have a lot of respect for the guys that they have up there.
All right, on the other side of their ball, their defense, Micah Parsons is the name that everyone looks at. How do you navigate that, especially with an offensive line that you guys are still working through?
It's a really tough matchup. Just put the tape on and see the plays that he makes. So physically gifted. Obviously, we have Miles, they have Micah, different players, but you really see the guys that are disruptive, guys that can line up everywhere, can be a factor in the run game, can be a factor in the pass game. So we've gone up against 95 all summer long. Their offense line's gone up against number 11 all summer long. So it's a really interesting matchup to get our guys ready.
All right, let's talk your team. Quarterback Deshaun Watson. It's his first game reps since that season-ending injury. Where is he at, and how confident are you in that week 1 with no preseason reps?
Yeah, he's done a great job, and really to get ready for a 17-game season, it's an entire process. And early on, rehabbing from his injury, he spent a lot of time in the training room, in the weight room getting ready, and then once we hit June, it felt like he was just himself, and that's the guy that I've seen has gotten a ton of good work with our guys, whether it's the receivers, the tight ends, what have you, so he's ready to roll.
You guys have some new weapons on the receiving end, and then you also have a new offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. He said that he'll be on the field helping coach things up down there and talk to Deshaun Watson. How big is that going to be for you to make sure this install translates to the field week 1?
It's huge, and Ken is such a major factor to everything we do as an offense. Ken, Deshaun, myself, we sit in every quarterback meeting together, so there's a lot of communication, and then that's really important on game day as well. As you know, things change on game day, you get different looks, so the ability to have really clear, concise communication between the coaches, I think, is huge, and having Ken down there with the quarterbacks and the entire offense will be really beneficial.
On the other side of the ball for you guys, your defense, year 2 with Jim Schwartz, that continuity, having so many core guys back again. What is that going to look like? Are we going to see anything new, or is it just going to be maybe some adding on to what you guys have already established?
I think you have to evolve every single season. The coaches on either side of the ball are just too good to just roll it out and say we're going to do the same thing. So there's definitely things that we've worked on over the course of the spring and the summer that we'll start to introduce into the season this week, into next week. But yeah, there's no such thing as staying the same. It's just it's not possible in this league.
Myles Garrett, though, you guys always say he could be better. He can always be better. How is that possible, and what are you looking at?
Well, I think you could ask Miles, and he knows this. There's plays that he leaves on the field that he wants to go get. So it's never a lack of effort, but there's certain things that he can do, whether it's technique or understanding the guy he's going against. There's another level to Myles Garrett.
All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about special teams and that new dynamic kickoff. You guys have gotten practice in it in the preseason and then at practice as well. How confident are you guys knowing that you have something new to show, and what is that going to look like for the Browns?
Yeah, very confident in our process. We've worked it really for a long time here, understanding the rules, explaining the rules to our players. As you can imagine, no one really shows anything in the preseason, so I'm as curious as everybody else to see what other teams have. We know that we've held back on a few things. We're curious about how the kick comes off the foot of the kicker. Is it a lot of what we call junk balls, where they're putting the ball on the ground, or are they sending it into the end zone? So a lot of unknowns, but we worked very hard on that play so that guys understand all the nuances of it.
We're going to send you out with a message to the fans, because you always seem to have one, especially in these home games. What's the message for week 1?
Yeah, get in your seats early, 4:25 start, so nobody's allowed to stay in that muni lot. Got to get their butts in their seats so we can hear them that first third down.
It's important.
Very important.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, Cam.